Hi, John C. Codd, executive editor of the Brewer Magazine, Brewer Mag podcast going on, and hopefully you're having a great day. As you see, I got my 49ers hat on. I had a great day on Sunday, but don't let Lion fans know that because they're still pretty mad about that. Speaking of some football and some sports in general, we got John Cimperman with us, so bring him in. Hey, John, how's it going?
Good afternoon. Doing great. Thank you.
Good. You've 42 North Brewing in East Aurora, New York, outside of Buffalo. Sorry about the Bills. I know you're a Cleveland guy, but I'm sure you adjust to the Bills Mafia lifestyle as well.
Well, I've picked, I think between the Browns and the Bills, I don't know, you got to add up a lot of years of no Super Bowls, right? So maybe I went right from the I jumped right into the fire here in Buffalo.
Sure. And I feel bad because I'm from the Upper Peninsula originally in Michigan. So I grew up around Lions and Packers fans. So I kind of wanted to see that Lions-Packers matchup. Unfortunately, I picked the Niners as a 6-year-old. So I've stuck with that team ever since. Like, what happens when Montana wins a bunch of Super Bowls? You kind of start paying attention to them the rest of your life.
Yeah, boy, I was so hoping, and it was a long shot, but I was so hoping that the Dog Pound would be visiting Western New York, for the AFC Championship. That did not happen, but one can dream.
Yeah. Well, so we do these things called brew reviews. Usually they're just done over the phone, like I was explaining it before, but kind of bring a video and podcast aspect to it, get a chance to kind of flesh out this stuff more than just maybe the one specific thing that we'll write about. But I thought it was pretty cool. You guys got Borderland IPA. How in your, since opening in 2015, how long has Borderland been a part of your portfolio?
Yeah, so Borderland is our flagship. It has been with us and our flagship since 2015 when the brewery was opened. It's our go-to IPA for sure.
And the thing that we're going to speak on is the fact that you guys have been able to position this brand, help build things and work towards, you have a music festival, it's in music clubs. I mean, kind of say, what was that the plan at the beginning to be able to get it in, or was it a secondary option that you guys have been able to build towards? And, where is it and how is it being a part of your portfolio now?
Yeah. Well, great question. And I think kind of, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but,
Right.
As we look ahead at where craft beer is and where flagship beers are, I really think it's important every beer has to tell a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the story around the 42 North brand, and in particular the Borderland brand, is really live entertainment, live music. And it did start with me co-founding a music festival that we borrowed the Borderland name for, because the festival started in 2018. But what we've found, and I know a lot of our brewery brethren can attest to the fact, there's a real strong correlation among live music lovers and craft beer drinkers.
Mm-hmm.
So we've really kind of just jumped all in. Not only do we as a tap room host a lot of live music, we also host events across the region where we tie into regional original musicians. And these musicians appreciate the fact that we showcase their music. And what's been great for us is they've helped open doors in music clubs throughout New York State, as well now in Northeast Ohio. So not only are we supporting them, but they're supporting us as brand ambassadors. So it's really been a great collaboration.
Very cool. How did it start? What was the simple things that you guys done, and what have been some of the cooler things that you've been able to do with this now and create this platform this way?
Yeah. So I think that, one was, the Borderland name is now on probably the premier music festival in the region. So that helped provide some credibility to, the correlation between the beer and live entertainment. The next thing we did is we really invested in our live entertainment in our tap room, and we put in the PA and the sound system, and we bring and attract great musicians to our place. And then last but not least, is kind of what I was alluding to, we also support live music venues in all the markets that we distribute our beer. While it's important for folks to come into our tap room to try our beer, it's equally important for us to promote the fact that our beer is also available at these great entertainment venues across the region.
Yeah.
And the bar owners, the club owners really appreciate the fact that we're helping them put butts in their seats as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a two-way street. Why give us a draft line when there's 9,800 other options, right? But if we can demonstrate that we support them and we support what they're also passionate about, in this case, live music, it really goes hand in hand.
Is that a something that you do with your own sales team? Is this something that you do through distro partners? And was that a leverage opportunity that you were able to work with your distributors to be able to get that to open up, different venues, like be able to go in? I mean, how did you guys work that through?
Boy, it's shaking hands and kissing babies. It really is personal relationships, and it's also delivering on your promises, right? So, if a music club puts our beer, on draft or even in cans, but on draft, we're going to follow that up and let our followers know that our beer is available there, but also look at these great musicians that are there. So in the case, it's really been, my team, and then our distributor, now understands, the strategy. So they're helping support it as well. And just a little thing that we did maybe a year and a half ago is, if you do, go to our website, we created an entire video, a bunch of video features that all highlight all these local clubs. And it was, in some cases, free publicity for these clubs, but also really showed that, this market, Western New York in particular, has a great live music scene. And John, we're taking that same strategy now to new distribution markets like Northeast Ohio.
Nice. And I think that it comes to, like you said, if you have a good plan, your distributor will want to help you, because their goal is to sell beer. Your goal is helping them to sell that beer. And if you're coming up with a solid plan like this, that just makes it a much better partnership right going through, and to be able to execute, rather than you coming and be like, what do you guys think of us doing this? And how do we do this? You have that plan.
We do. And, we've got a lot of breweries, not just us, but, we have really passionate followers, passionate fans of our beer and of our brewery. And it's an engaged group. They open our emails, they react to our social media posts, they come in our tap room. Mm-hmm. And that's some real valuable inventory to other venues. And we're fine, us, again, cross-promoting other venues, that are supporting us. So it really is a two-way street.
Really nice. Well, talk about the beer a little bit. When you're creating a beer like this, IPA is kind of synonymous with craft beer. I mean, some people don't even understand that there's a difference and there's other styles out there.
Yeah.
But how do you create a brand that can resonate, can be available in a club like this, and be sellable? Because I think sometimes people get that face if they don't know craft beer that well, they hear IPA and they might want to walk away. How have you guys helped kind of bridge that gap with this beer?
Yeah. Well, as when I mentioned there's 9,500 some craft breweries, there's probably 20,000, 30,000 different IPAs. So you really need to find a way to differentiate your liquid, and what's the story, not only about that brewery, but also about that beer. So, our brew team, we have a very diverse lineup. We have at any given time out in market 12 to 15 different SKUs, but IPAs still lead in velocity. IPAs still lead in sell through. So, what we've created, again, the original recipe from day one is really, an American style IPA. It really kind of bridges that West Coast, East Coast, New England style. Amarillo, Simcoe, Citra hop, super approachable, super well-rounded. And what the comment I get most often about the Borderland IPA is even that person that you said, makes that face when you hand them an IPA. They have like, wow, I didn't expect that, a little bit lower IBU, mid 60s on the IBU, little, 6.8% ABV. So it's not going to knock you out. It's really just such a well-rounded, balanced, fruit forward IPA. And so I really call it's a super approachable IPA. And what we love is IPA lovers love it. And, lager drinkers or even wine drinkers also appreciate it. So it's a good combination.
What have been some of the surprises that you've been able to get out of this and that you feel has been something that you didn't think you guys would be able to do with a brand like this? Is there anything that you're just like, I didn't think this could happen, but it's working really well?
Yeah. John, I wouldn't call it surprises. I guess, what I'm surprised at is how much hard work it is to sell beer these days. Okay, that's the surprise. So, we never stop grinding. We never stop, again, shaking hands and introducing ourselves face to face. It's really a hand to hand, you know, combat when it is to, out there in the marketplace these days. And, and it's, so we're, so the only surprise is just, there's just the hard work that's involved and it's a grind. But what I'm really happy to note is, over the last 18 months, we've seen, great results. As our distributor tells us, it's the number one IPA in a 16-ounce can in Western New York. So we're really proud of that. And we're just going to keep grinding and, not take our customers for granted. And that means both our consumers as well as the trade, the on-premise accounts, and continue to support them and show them, the value. The liquid has to be good to get in the door. That's a given. But what else can you do to support your customers? And in this case, with Borderland IPA, those customers, a lot of them are live entertainment, music venues and clubs.
Nice. Volume wise, how has this become such an important part of your brand? Have you seen from the time you guys have started doing this, you see that volume growth, whether it be overall percentage of what you guys are creating or actual barrel increase? Because
So, overall, our Borderland IPA is about 50%, accounts for about 50% of what we sell with our entire portfolio. Our second SKU is a little, we have a really strong seasonal line that rotates every 2-3 months. That's probably our, second, SKU. And we have a really nice session IPA that kind of peaks more so in the summer. But as far as the Borderland IPA, it accounts for about 50% of our sales. And that's been pretty consistent over the years. What I can tell you is with some of our key off-premise accounts, grocery, independent chains, we're up 14% in a few of those chains. And part of that is, you got to get the placements to get the sell through. So, but that story about how the music, is tied to the music and, even these on-premise folks, they support us off premise because if you see that beer on draft at a music club and you go down to your local, in our market, local Wegmans, there's a big correlation, and both those sales channels really support each other.
And you have a marketing background. You've been through a lot of this stuff. Was this something that you saw was a hole in the market, that was something that you guys could be able to use to build this brand? Is there a passion behind it
Yeah,
that's where that developed it? I mean, how did you
yeah,
develop the thought
yeah.
process this way?
Well, again, I'm just speaking for the markets that we serve, which
Yeah,
is our home Great Lakes. There's really not a beer or a brand that's really tied and associated with live music and entertainment. So for us, it was natural to go where kind of that blue ocean is. So we've really done a nice job kind of owning that niche. In other markets across the country, I know there's different brands that have really looked at similar strategies because again, craft beer and live music index really well together.
yeah.
But here, where we're at in the Great Lakes region, it's a place that we think we can own.
Awesome. Uh, what else? Like, if there's someone is looking at just exactly what you guys are as a brand, is that the entire brand? Do you guys have a story that is outside of that? Because I know obviously what 42 North
Yeah,
can mean,
right.
just being
Yeah,
from the area.
yeah,
I understand. So have you guys been able to find ways to market yourself almost as two different brands,
yeah,
Borderlands, 42 North?
yeah. Well, 42 North as an overall brand is about the history and the lifestyle of living on the 42nd parallel, right? Finger Lakes, Great Lakes, very outdoorsy. Our brand is very outdoorsy. It's funny you bring that up. We have another beer which we're not talking about here is as our Day Trekker Session IPA, right?
Mm-hmm.
We really focus that beer on the mountain bikers and the hikers. That's the session beer when you're done, cycling for 2 hours. So what we really try to do is, we try to create. We've got an overall brand, 42 North, which is focused on quality and authenticity. And as I mentioned, we tie into attributes of the outdoors. And then with our beers, what's the story with this beer? And with Borderland IPA, it's live music. Our Day Trekker IPA is really tied to mountain biking and skiing, and then we even have a winter seasonal that's named after one of the region's most famous ski hills. So we really try to build a brand around each of our beers, and kind of tell the story. But it all fits underneath the umbrella brand of 42 North.
Nice. And how much thought process goes before something does happen with these brands? How far out are you thinking when it comes to marketing opportunities?
Yeah, well, we have obviously our annual planning meeting with our distributors every fall, and
Mhm.
so we're planning a year ahead. And with Borderland IPA and that one in particular, there's a lot of if you're from Ohio and you lived in Michigan and us in Western New York, there's a live outdoor event every weekend from May until October. We pack it all in.
We have.
So, you know, we can't be all things to all people, which by the way, if there's any advice I can provide anybody looking to build brands is find a lane and stay in it and don't try to be all things to all people, right?
Mhm.
So we look at the summer calendar of events and we're like, does this venue, does this genre of music kind of fit our brand? And if so, let's look to invest time and resources against that. If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel like our brand, let's not even go there. It's not about getting in front of all people. It's about getting the brand in front of the right people. And it's just stay in our lane. And what I love about craft beer is every brewery has its own kind of brand image, right?
Mhm.
Some it strategically happened, and some it just happened on its own. you know. And I can even think of breweries here in Western New York. There's some breweries that are really more of an urban image and an urban vibe, and kind of graffiti, and a little bit maybe more focused on different lifestyles, which is awesome. There's other brands that tend to be a little bit more mainstream, but for us, at least with this beer, it's really focused on music and entertainment. So stay in your lane and don't try to be all things to all people, because we don't have enough money, and as I like to say, if you try to be all things to all people, you're nothing to everyone, which that's a shame.
Yeah. And I think that is, it is an important thing to note. I think there are a lot of breweries that come into this as, let's say, especially the home brewer side, where they just want to share their passion, and not having that thought process sometimes can be harmful ways, because they are putting out their passion projects and not being able to understand why other people don't have that same passion that they do. And then it ends up it ends up falling flat, because they just don't know how to properly express it or be able to direct a focus towards branding and marketing, which I think is an important aspect. It sounds too mature, too grown up, and things like that. But at the smallest level, it is an important aspect.
Yeah. So, in our team, I mean, we're a small brewery, we're, we'll do 4,000 barrels this year. So we're still fairly small, growing slow, growing organically. But, I am fortunate because I have an advertising, branding background. But, we do have, and we do engage, creative people to help us build our brand. We're not, and it is an investment. It does cost money, but if you have consistency and a quality look, especially with a sea of cans, right? I want someone to look at that Borderland IPA and say, okay, I know that beer. I know that's 42 North. And in our case, I know they also share a passion for live music. So that's the one I'm going to grab off the shelf, because it's a really crowded marketplace out there, and you got to find your niche.
Yep. So what is the future thought that, things that you guys are thinking about doing with this? Are you thinking of brand extension lines through the Borderland name? Is it something that you guys have looked towards, or are you happy with how it is right now?
Well, as I mentioned, we recently launched our brand in Northeast Ohio, and the same strategy that has worked here in New York State, again, supporting live musicians, helping put butts in seats of our clients, in this case, the club owners, same strategy we're implementing in Northeast Ohio. And, for us, Northeast Ohio is a big market. That's a big market and a big opportunity. After all, it is also the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, right? So probably not a bad strategy to go after. So we have, been getting our brand in front of really the premier music venues in Northeast Ohio, and they really appreciate the support, and we're really fortunate to have so many friends in the music business, in this case, musicians, who are also helping, tell our story and warming the oven for us and saying, hey, not only is the beer good, but the people behind it also share our values and share our passion for live music.
Well, awesome. Well, best of luck here in 2024, and hopefully seeing good things coming from you guys, and that Cleveland does a bang up job for you guys, and you can continue to do what you're doing, because I think it's a great idea and a great thought process.
Great. Well, we're slowly getting closer to your home ground, so you never know.
Thanks, John.
Hey, have a great day. Thanks for listening.